Hey everyone, welcome back to the Shack. It's New Year's Eve. This will be part 3 and probably the final part of, actually I'll say for sure the final part of getting the Shack back together. And I don't want to show you a whole lot of detail just because it's monotonous. So I'm basically going to show you where I'm at as far as setup and what's left to go. So here's the diagram I was talking about as far as how things are going to be hooked up RF-wise. If we start at the top, we're going to have my radio and my antenna analyzer next to each other into a coax switch, and I'll explain what that does. So I like to use my analyzer to tune my antenna tuner. Reason being is I have unlimited time with my analyzer, and I do have a video on that, so if you're curious about how that works, go back and watch that video. But that gives me unlimited time to mess with the settings on my tuner instead of having to use 10 or 15 second intervals or less using the radio. So that way I can get it very close, and then if I want an even better tune, I can tune at power with the radio, but I'll be so close that it won't take that much time. So those two are next to each other on a switch, and then that switch runs directly to the amp input, and I can show you next to me once we get to that point. Then the amp output runs to the tuner. The tuner output runs to another switch, and that switch has the dummy load and the antenna next to each other. And the reason there's another switch there is because I don't have a bypass on my antenna tuner, which I had mentioned already. If I did, or if I had a built-in dummy load, even better, which I might do. I might in the future add that switch. There's plenty of room inside of the cabinet on this thing that I could just build my dummy load into it, but this is basically acting as an external bypass mode so that I can tune the radio and tune the antenna and the amp, everything before the dummy load. When I'm switched in this position, I can tune everything off air, and then when I'm ready to go, I just switch over to the antenna. So let's take a look in real life how things look. And mainly I'm just trying to get lengths on cables. I have all of my low power stuff, but I need to order my high power stuff. So I have everything before the amp, but need to order some bigger stuff for after the amp. So first in line we have our radio, and actually not on the diagram, that runs through this power meter. So you can see my beefy hardline LMR 400 jumper that I made running into that. Out of that runs down to one side of that switch. The other side of that switch is right here, and this will go into our antenna analyzer whenever needed. I like to keep that thing in its case down there. It's probably one of my more valuable pieces of equipment, so I keep that sealed up until I need it. So that would go there, and then on that switch output is going down through there to the input on the amp. So next we need to measure the output of the amp up to, what's next? The tuner. And I believe something about like this will work. I think this is a 3-foot jumper, or close to, and I'm not going to use this for very long just because it's what I would consider low power. It's RG, I think it's RG8X. Where does it say? Yes, RG8X. So that's kind of the mini stuff. And it's just marginally rated for the power we're going to be putting through it. So anyway, that will run down. I need to make a little pass through here for cables, but that goes down to our output back here. There we go. And you can see we've got plenty to go around to the back of the tuner. So after that, we'll have the output of the tuner to a switch, and that's just going to be a very short run from the back of this to here. I decided I'm going to keep my switches where they're at. They just work best there, and I just moved this over slightly to stick a hand back in there, and I can move that more if needed. What I realized is I'm not going to be working on the bench over here while on the air over here, so if this has to slide while I'm working on a project, that's fine. Okay, so we need a short jumper from here to here. We have plenty of antenna length to go to here, and then we need a short jumper, which should ideally be high power as well, to our dummy load, which will sit probably back in that hole somewhere. So 2 short jumpers is all we need. I'm surprised. So I'll get those all dealt with, and I've got some power things I'm pretty excited about, but I won't bother showing the setup on those. I'm going to get those set up, and I'll show you guys how all that looks when it's done. So thanks for your ideas on this short series. Happy New Year. Everybody be safe, and we will see you in 2021.